evening. I'm Yohanan Ben Zion, a voice crying out in the wilderness, crying out for a technological New Jerusalem. These are the techno-communism conversations. Before I get into the heart of this conversation, I'd like to say some top of the show business. I am running for President of the United States as a write-in candidate. I make one promise as a presidential candidate. On day one, I will sign an executive order that I've written that disbands the United States federal government. For you see, the United States military-industrial complex and the sham government that it serves is the world's worst polluter, a trillion-dollar abomination. This military-industrial complex, its job is to not protect in any way U.S. people or any people. Its job is to protect super polluting corporations, the ravages of private wealth. These must be done away with in order for humankind to survive. Not Jill Stein, not Robert Kennedy Jr., not Kamala Harris, not Donald Trump. None of these will do what is necessary to see the survival of humankind. They are bourgeois puppets. Even Jill Stein. Jill Stein, not a communist. A left wing of fascism, not so similar from Kamala Harris. Not interested in ending the ravages of empire. Not interested in significantly curtailing, much less ending, financial capital. If Jill Stein were president in January of 2025, there's a small chance that you would have a public health service or some benefit. But what good is that benefit to you on a planet that after 2029 will become increasingly uninhabitable because of this United States-led ecocidal system? It's of no value. These people are worthless. And by voting in this system, you are upholding this omnicidal, racist trajectory. And it is racist, make no mistake. Oftentimes when I point out the problems of this U.S. enforced omnicide, people say, well, Ben, I don't think everyone will die. Perhaps there'll be some remnant, some small number of people still living. And I say, what, from whence do you imagine that remnant hailing? Probably not yourself, probably billionaires and their friends. And what is the makeup of that billionaire and PMC and other bourgeois and fascist sympathetic likely survivors? Almost exclusively European descended. And that is the situation already with this omnicide. Many hundreds of millions have died, have been displaced because of capitalism's climate apocalypse, because of this abomination, the system that the United States and the North Atlantic powers have forced upon the rest of the world. That, my friend, is racism. I'm not going to focus as much on the general point of the show. This is probably a thing that I talk about a lot on the show, the need to remove the United States federal government and military-industrial complex from the equation so that the rest of the world can heal and move forward. Another thing that I talk about probably even more is a means of doing that, which is building full techno-communism using advanced computing, namely machine learning, a large open source large language model that you could download to your computer, and by doing this participate in a highly automated AI run work group with an AI agentic LLM mass at the center of it, allowing you to do a good deal more with a good deal less, because you have to do very little except to respond to few emails, that kind of behavior. while the AI agents, increasingly insightful and having capacities able to affect the real world as they are at present to some degree, and increasingly with each passing month, well into this era of AI agency in 2025, you will be able to build something that, at a small scale, say a few thousand users, could transform a cityscape or push some sectors in a better direction. But as it grows into the millions, it is something that would completely transform those malformed industrial sectors of the capitalistic world, and and ultimately supplant as well the superstructure of this imperialistic and fascistic set of systems, replacing it in short order, not just with the scientific socialist and cybernetic socialist state, or scientific socialist and cybernetic socialist friendly institutions, but in that full automation framework, and in the wake of an intelligence explosion, full techno-communism. We can do all this easily within a decade if you all wake the fuck up. That would be nice. I'm going to talk about a different sector, however. I'm recalling a time when I was... God damn it. I'm recalling a time when I was just trying on a plant-based diet for the first time. I was a young teenager. And unfortunately, at that time, I didn't stick to it like I should have. I had not yet made the study of revolutionary thought. I had not yet come to the understanding that I had to reject bourgeois ideology. And so it was not possible at that time for me to be truly green or conscious, class conscious, because they're one and the same in a world that will die without an insurgency to end these unsustainable sectors. First and foremost, of course, the military-industrial complex. But I'm recalling this time when I was trying a plant-based diet for the first time, and it was the first time I'd ever been to a vegan restaurant, a nice Chinese vegan restaurant. My friend said we should go to this nice Chinese vegan restaurant. They have a unique menu, and I said, "Hey, okay." And at that time I had a tofu dish that was a close, we could say, in as few words as possible, fairly close approximation of a General Tso chicken, but made with tofu. And it wasn't General Tso chicken because it's a generally low quality Chinese style American food. It was something that kind of like that with a barbecue sauce, and very good, very good. I was happy, and I said, "This is good. I should be eating like this all of the time." And it got me reflecting on that not terribly unique incident. Got me thinking about a contemporary food system and its failings in sustainability, such as reliance on petroleum products, single-use plastics, and the lack of plant-based options really being made available to people. And so I'd like to discuss a kind of culinary movement, the use of robotic food production as it relates to 21st century eco-socialism. The contemporary food system is a complex interplay of problematic factors: socioeconomic inequity, animal exploitation that has a vastly deleterious effect on the planet, and other things to do with human degradation and ecological degradation. And so this part of our conversation is going to explore a novel approach to address these challenges: the integration of robotic food production into, at first, some communal living environments as a test of this concept. But ultimately, I believe that this could be a thing that could become a commonplace outside of communal living environments. By introducing these cooking robots into places first, like dormitories and similar settings, we can build this shift toward a plant-based set of options that would be plastic-free and extraordinarily cost-effective, but would nevertheless give people options on the order of what I described a moment ago, hot cuisine, rather than garbage that they're mostly eating. And this would explore the implications of technology for broader societal structures in an ecologically sound set of frameworks that would be eminently possible based on the technology of today. The global food system is in a state of crisis. Industrial agricultural, namely livestock systems, account for 51% by some studies of the problems of humans contributing to capitalism's climate apocalypse. In fact, 45% of all arable land is used specifically to maintain these livestock systems, an unsustainable set of practices. And this is down to intensive and badly conceived resource use, deforestation, animal exploitation, and not least of those concerns. All of this is contributing to rapidly quickening climate change, biodiversity loss, and a variety of public health issues that should not be ignored. Simultaneously, food insecurity and malnutrition persist not just in the global south, but in various manifestations in the global north. There's never been a time in the United States where there were not thousands and thousands of people starving, be they new Africans, indigenous inhabitants of Turtle Island, mountain folks, working poor folks, elsewheres. This is something that people often like to ignore in the mythos of the United States, but there's never been a time when there have not been starving people on this continent in modern times. And the dominance of processed foods, often high in unhealthy additives and packaged in plastic, further exacerbate all these problems. And this part of our conversation is meant to explore an option to remove these problematic factors. Robotic food production promises a potential solution to these challenges. And just to be clear, robotic kitchen aids, robot chefs, are widely available at not at a great cost when you consider the proposed usage here. Available from under $10,000 to into the low tens of thousands of dollars. And by automating the cooking and most importantly preparation processes and focusing on plant-based ingredients, this technology could contribute significantly at a larger scale to a sustainable, equitable, and healthy food system. And the idea here is that you would have, say, for a dormitory, maybe this dormitory houses 200 people, you would have perhaps a half a dozen of these robots working all the time. And they would work from some staples and a collection of prepared food elements or semi-prepared food elements. And this in total, in conjunction with locally sourced fruits and vegetables, would allow for a vast number of hot cuisine type or high-level delicacy type dietary options, which would be more titillating, delicious, and healthful than the present slate of options available to such people. And so with a small expenditure, one-time expenditure of a few robots in this dormitory situation, you could supply everyone there with food that is a good deal better than the food they're eating, and most importantly, is not making use of single-use plastics or these unsustainable livestock system products. Um, um, Reducing our reliance on animal agriculture is in the top 3 issues for building a humane and sustainable world. As I said, by some studies, 51% of this capitalism's climate apocalypse is down to livestock systems. But if we say that fossil fuels are worse and the military-industrial complex is worse, that still leaves livestock systems in third place in this pantheon of capitalistic criminal acts. And so we can also dramatically decrease food waste. One of the problems that people don't always think about, but there's more than enough food to feed every human being on the planet, but we do not have an elegant system for seeing that that is done. And of course, reducing fossil fuel products, namely plastic packaging. This could be basically reduced to 0 or reduced 1,000-fold by the widespread adoption of this system. The health benefits are significant. One reason, the major reason that people don't switch to a plant-based diet is because of these things are not made available to them in an easy and affordable way. And another reason is just cultural bullshit that doesn't make a lot of sense and is kind of beneath contempt. We'll not really discuss. But another reason is that they feel that they wouldn't find it very delicious, very engaging or titillating to take on that kind of dietary choice. And so I think it's important to build something into this that maybe circumvents that problem by giving them just a ton of options of the kind you would have, say, in a food court with thousands of thousands of stalls. But the main consideration, here after environmental concerns, is that this would lead to improved public health outcomes, reducing the prevalence of diet-related diseases, which is a major contributor to ill health. Also, by reducing food costs and increasing access to healthy food, using kitchen robots in this novel way would contribute to economic empowerment, particularly for marginalized communities. I think that basically this should be state funded, so that each family could have a robot of this kind, this would allow a relatively small expenditure and access to a novel supply chain set of methodologies within this system, allow for people to reduce these problematic factors, namely environmental impacts, by 1,000-fold. It's also this kind of situation, I think, contributes to a kind of sociability. Having food prepared for people in a domestic situation might allow them to have a sense of more thoughtful and a kind of family life and community. It gives people a sense of a shared responsibility in these contexts. People enjoy eating together, and when they are made to reflect on their duties as human beings in that situation, it might tend to counteract some of these bad cultural effects that contribute to people, even communists, I say this is what I've said here. Then is about these top three causes of capitalism's climate apocalypse um, and the livestock systems and the lack of illegality. These should be illegal. The livestock system should be illegal. Um, Anything that's killing the planet should be illegal. But you can't get even this very rarely a communist 1 in 100 to agree with that. You could say that even communists are more right wing on this particular subject, Western communists, than Bill Gates, a fascist piece of shit, on the abolition of livestock systems. Bill Gates is very rarely right on anything. His perspective, even on livestock systems, is pretty warped. But he's more interested in ending this than almost any communist I've talked to in the Western world. So we need to change, set aside cultural baggage, but also be able to recognize that an awful lot of areas we have the vestiges in our thinking of bourgeois ideological filth, and when somebody suggests something that's and your immediate response is blah blah blah, this makes me so angry. If it's something that's anti-capitalist and you're kind of responding with a less anti-capitalistic response, you, my friend, are regurgitating bourgeois ideology, and you need to stop that. How do we implement this at a municipal level then? To maximize the impact of kitchen robots, a municipal level implementation should be explored. This approach allows for economies of scale, centralized procurement of ingredients, and integration with other urban sustainability initiatives. The city should invest in the development of communal living spaces equipped with these robotic kitchens. These spaces should be designed to foster social interaction and community building. Ingredient sourcing in this framework is extremely important. Prioritizing local, organic, and plant-based ingredients is essential. Establishing partnerships with local farms and food producers can create a more resilient and equitable food system. Robot design and maintenance. The municipality should collaborate with technology companies to develop cooking robots specifically designed for communal living environments. A robust maintenance and repair system would have to be in place to ensure that continuous operation of the kitchen robots is able to serve the entire community. Public outreach campaigns would have to be undertaken to promote the benefits of this kitchen robot system and the plant-based diets. I think that the system should stipulate, as I've said, anything that's killing the environment should be illegal, so that this should stipulate that you must participate in this by adhering to plant-based diet. But I do not think that any other stipulations like caloric restriction should be stipulated. People will restrict calories as they like. If they eat more calories than they need, by and large, I don't think that's a good thing to try to focus on. Understanding of the complexities of culinary culture that would benefit this approach to a vast number of plant-based diet recipes across nearly every kind of food, that can be made without meat. This would be something that people should be encouraged to engage with. This will empower citizens to enjoy this and make better choices. To ensure equitable access, the city should implement pricing structures that make kitchen robots available to all residents at low or no cost. This must be an affordable and essential system. There may be, at this time, some technological limitations, but largely it would be down to the scale of this sort of thing. I've had the experience, one other thing aside from this example that I gave at the top of the show that has influenced my thinking along these lines, is the use of my chatbots in coming up with unique recipes. I think it's accurate to say that if there are any areas in which these LLM-based chatbots seem to exceed human abilities, one of them is coming up with hot cuisine level recipes. You can say, I have these 10 things in my refrigerator, make a list of 50 recipe concepts that would be at the hot cuisine level or near that, using these 10 recipes, and they'll do it every time, and one or two of those things will be bangers. So this level of engagement with people through the chatbot would be a necessary part of this kitchen robotics experience, which is not the experience that people using kitchen robots in the commercial setting are having today. But again, all of that technology exists and could easily be integrated without tremendous layout or research and development. It would be important for consumers to be able to overcome cultural and taste preferences, and that requires that people be educated on sustainability, but mostly, in my view, this is something that should simply be mandated. If we don't mandate that human beings not kill the planet, human beings will just continue to kill the planet until in a few decades there's no human beings left. So you can argue with idiots, or you can just say, this is the law, my friend. You're not allowed to kill people, nor are you allowed to kill everyone or yourself. These are not unreasonable stipulations of the system. You're not allowed to kill everyone and yourself, just like you're not allowed to commit murder. So that means that you have to live in a certain way. When that becomes the case, then very quickly the ideological shite will wither away as well. In pre-modern eras, any given person had about a 10% chance at birth of being murdered by another human being. The number is lower now, even despite fascistic violence of the capitalistic systems. It's dramatically lower. That's because the state determined that you're not allowed to kill people, and they would stop you from doing that in most ordinary situations, aside from the state's monopoly on violence aside. So similarly, by making this a center of the a necessary of the cybernetic socialist state form, you would have a similar effect. And I think that you could say that in a few short years, the result would be quite dramatic in terms of the benefits on par of making it harder for people to just murder each other. The integration of kitchen robots into communal living environments and ultimately all municipal environs presents a unique opportunity to begin to address some of the most pressing global challenges by combining technological innovation with commitment to social and environmental justice. Will create a healthy future, a livable future for all. The potential benefits of this type of approach are too significant to ignore, but I expect that most of you will ignore it because your ideological bourgeois baggage and cultural baggage of even less coherence will interfere with your ability to act like a real human being. But by investing in research, development, and infrastructure up to and including this mandate that I described at some length, municipalities can lead the way toward a food system that nourishes both people and the planet.